Hey guys, in this video I'll be showing you how I went from this little rinky-dink laptop sleeve to this nice beautiful laptop sleeve. Also made two, so I made two different prints. I don't know what it is about my old laptop sleeve. I've had it for a while and it just does not match anything that I'm doing. And I'm a bag maker, so I'm all about coordination. I'm all about my pieces looking nice. And this little thing was not it. So yeah, I decided to teach myself how to make one of these. I've seen fabric laptop sleeve tutorials, so I figured I would do my own version, and here we are. So we're gonna make this. Let's get started. So when I purchased this laptop sleeve, it was really because I needed something quick in a hurry to protect my laptop. I usually throw my laptop in a huge tote bag, but if you know anything about my brand, black is not my favorite, and I wanted something a little more stylish. To achieve that, we're going to need some designer fleece. That is literally the name of it. It has a plush hair-on feel to it, which will give us a nice padding for the interior. Instead of using a double pull zipper, I feel like that's a little unnecessary. I'm going to use a single pull zipper. We're also going to use some double fold bias tape. In addition, we will also use this elastic band. I'm going to try two different styles. So one of the styles I'll use a band. The other style I'll use it without. So keep that in mind. It is not mandatory, but it will be a nice touch to add some flexibility. As far as the leather is concerned, I'm going to use this beautiful brindle hair-on hide. In addition to some cheetah print, I'm going to make a male version and a female version. And because it's just been laying around my design room, I figured I might as well upcycle. So yeah, we're going to use the two and pull off two different styles. So right now I'm just in the process of cutting out the pieces of my leather. I pretty much used the same measurements from the older laptop sleeve for this particular one. And of course it's just two pieces. One for the back, one for the front, and then the side panels has a little quarter piece. So I'm just cutting all of my pieces out based on those measurements. Now that I have all of my pieces cut out as far as the base of my laptop sleeve, the felt, which is the interior, so soft, the felt trimming for the interior, and then our elastic, which will go around the exterior, I'm going to start working with attaching my zipper first to the exterior trim. So for starters, I'm going to take my elastic band and fold both of the ends in half, not exactly a half, but maybe fold it by a 1/4 inch, and then give that some double-sided tape so that it stays folded. So it should look something like that on the ends. Now, the reason I folded it in half is so that I don't have a raw edge when I attach it to my zipper. Once we have that in place, we can also double side tape it to our zipper and then take that over to the sewing machine and give ourselves a base stitch. In addition to stitching my leather piece together with the trim of the laptop case, I went ahead and added the interior trimming, which is this little furry number that'll mimic or that'll match the base of the bag. So the whole interior needs to be filled with this soft little padding. And I'm gonna sew that in the opposite direction so that you don't see the stitch line. So I have it pointed in the opposite direction of the actual trim, so I can do a base stitch, and then when I flip it over, actually I'm gonna leave it like that because I don't want a stitch line at all. I want it to be seamless. Make sure everything is lined up evenly. All right, so now we have our nice little base stitch. And again, as I was saying, I sewed this in the opposite direction. One, so the rigid edge could be on the interior. And as I flip it over, this will be the interior of the laptop case, and it'll be nice and smooth and seamless. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the opposite side. As far as the base of the laptop sleeve, I added the designer felt to those pieces as well. And now that my zipper and trim are sewn together, I can move forward in stitching that on to the pieces. Before I go over to the sewing machine, I just want to make sure everything is even and lined up. So I'm going to start with the center portion of my laptop sleeve and then go ahead and attach everything together. And once I have everything sewn together from the first piece, then I'll know if I need to make any adjustments. But so far so good. Everything matched up perfectly. So I already went ahead and sewed one side of the base to the exterior trim just to make sure everything was properly measured and aligned accordingly. So now that that is the case, I'm gonna go ahead and finish sewing the other side. I'm gonna sew that together and then I'll add the bias trimming to cover up all of these little rough edges that we do not want sticking out in the inside of our laptop case. So when it comes to bias tape, this is the bias tape that I'm using to cover my edges. This is a double folded bias tape. A lot of you may be leather crafters and you've never heard of a bias tape because you don't really have to use this type of stuff when it comes to leather crafting. But when I sew clothes and when I sew a lot of my bags, I don't like raw edges, especially in the interior of my bag. So this would be something that you would use to close up any raw edges, or cover up, excuse me, any raw edges. So I'm using a double folded bias tape. All I'm gonna do is take it along the edge of my bag, fold it around that raw edge, and stitch it into place going all the way around. So I'm gonna do that right now. Actually, I'm gonna start from this part since I'm at the bottom portion of my machine. You just have to make sure it stays in place. That is the most tedious part of sewing on a bias to your edge. Some machines also come with a bias attachment. You attach the extension to your machine, and as you sew along, it'll make sure that the bias is sewn on evenly. But I don't have that attachment for this machine. I think I have it for my other machine, but I don't really like my other machine. So yeah, that's that. So I have just completed sewing the bias onto the edge. This is how that looks. Both sides, the bias is complete. So now that we have finished that, we can go ahead and turn our laptop case inside out. Make sure this thing is right. That is pretty much our case. So there's some blemishes in the leather. I'm just gonna take a felt filler . It appears to come off like felt material, which is really weird, but it works pretty well with leather. And because there's black speckles in the leather, that just covered up any of those spots. And then we have some spots over here. That way it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with our leather. And that is our laptop case. I have a shell protector on my laptop case. I want to make sure this laptop sleeve fits the same way my other laptop sleeve fit. And it looks like it's seamless. And now we have a new laptop sleeve. Here's another little blemish that I just noticed from the leather. This was actually the first blemish that I noticed. Fill that in. So as I mentioned, this case is actually for a man. I felt like it just has a really masculine appeal to it. So because of that, I went ahead and made a female version. And this will be the one that I use more often because a lot of my prints, a lot of my guitar straps and other prints from my bags that I currently wear have this same print. So yeah, I just went ahead and made two. And now we have a nice laptop sleeve and it matches what I'm doing, which I'm big on. If you're not, that's just you. But hey, to each his own. So that concludes our laptop sleeve project. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you picked up some tips along the way as far as making your own laptop sleeve case. You can also use a cowhide if you don't like hair, but hair on is my specialty. So yeah, use what you prefer. Preference is everything, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.